Hello and welcome to episode 56 of Knobcat Games Dungeons of the Obelisk podcast. I'm your host, Joe Sleppy. I'm Executive Prime at Knobcat Games, and this show is our audio devlog where we get together every 2 weeks and talk about our game, Dungeons of the Obelisk, which is a 2D turn-based dungeon crawling loot grinding adventure. And I'm joined today by our art lord, Ben Segas.
Hello.
Our animancer, giver of movement, Nyka.
Hello.
And our digital alchemist, TJ Adicernia.
Hello.
We got a bit of a full house. This is the most people have been on the podcast in a little while. It's also pretty exciting. This is technically the last show before the game goes live, as long as everything goes to plan. Because our next show will probably be the 29th, and we're planning on releasing on the 28th of March. So, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot to talk about in that respect. We got most of our bugs crunched, I hope.
More or less. There's definitely a few small things here and there, but I'd say in terms of functionality, the game is definitely there, and there's nothing that should be absolutely game-breaking.
Yeah, speaking of the game-breaking, we should talk about the issue. I think we started talking about it last podcast, but I kind of said we'd talk about it off the air. And then as soon as we ended the podcast, we kind of figured out what was going on, and then you fixed it. But I have it listed on our notes as commas versus decimals.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty huge one. It's, I guess, incredibly unexpected finding out that certain countries have commas and decimals flip-flopped on each other. So things that would be like 31.5 for us would, with a decimal, for them have a comma. But because of how the system processes the numbers without any like special exceptions designed in it, it would end up becoming a whole number. So 31.5 becomes 315. And because of issues like that, certain players had a much larger list of problems than they should have. Like gear was way off on the stats. Certain enemies wouldn't spawn. Enemies were larger than the map itself. And it was all just purely caused by the fact that commas and decimals were flipped in certain countries.
Yeah, it kind of blows my mind that that's how it is, because I always just assumed like math is math. You know, like I didn't realize that people like notated math differently in different countries, which, as I say, it kind of makes sense, I guess, but it seems wild that you have never heard of it before, and this is clearly a problem that every developer has had to have encountered, right?
Yep. Yeah, it was a decently common problem that popped up. I'm glad the solution was as simple as it was, because it's like, for as big as the problem is, luckily you can basically just tell Unity, like, no matter where this person is, just assume that for calculations and numbers, assume they're in the United States. Which, I mean, I guess it solved the problem, but for them it just means that if they see a number that has a decimal, they'll maybe get confused, but it's a small sacrifice.
See, my question is, do they use decimal points for anything else? Like, basically they just use a comma instead of a decimal point, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, like, for us, we use commas to, like, separate, like, thousands, I think. Is that where it goes? Every three spots, you'll put it in, like, a big number to make it, like, easier to read or whatever. But I guess they don't do that?
I would like to say they use decimals as separators instead. That, or they just ditch separators entirely. I know it's not uncommon for things all over the place to not use standard separators. Like, if it's a long number, 4 digits or more, there just won't be a separator at all, which, in my opinion, makes it annoying to look at. But I guess other people are fine with it.
Yeah, that was a big one that I'm glad we figured out before we went live.
Yeah, we kind of lucked out on having people in different countries playtesting it like that, because it was a very real possibility where it would have released and people in a different country would play and then just have the huge list of issues and then assume that the game is garbage and unpolished.
Yeah, it does seem pretty polished now. Like, as long as something else weird doesn't come up like that. I hope we've gotten like all the big bugs. Like, there's still like little things that crop up, but none of them are like game breaking. It's always like, I don't know, like little like menu things or something that make certain things pop up that shouldn't or whatever. But before we started recording, we had a couple that were like showing tooltips for items that didn't exist and things like that, but none of them were game breaking. Do you remember the bug where your character would take his clothes off in the town randomly?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a funny one. It's like you open up your settings or something and you would just strip.
Did you find a fix? Like, obviously you did because it's fixed, but was there anything like interesting behind that one?
When I was looking into it, it looks like so basically what your character has equipped is just like a pile of words. It's just head is whatever the ID is for the head, chest plate, and all that. Just a long list of words. And what would happen is that when you open up your things like your settings or something, but not your inventory, it would process the fact that you changed your equipment, but it didn't recognize the fact that your equipment was what was in your inventory. Because your inventory slots don't fill until you click inventory for the first time, even though the stats are still there. So because of that, anytime you did something that wasn't the inventory, it'll just assume like, oh, this slot is empty, so this character must not have anything equipped. And then you would just completely strip because it did that for all of it.
I did notice the reason I was asking about that one is if you go to the blacksmith and in view and click on that on the character's head to view your equipped items and then back out of it, you'll go naked again sometimes.
I just did that and it just worked. Oh, I see. If you click the head and then click the X out button on the upper right, it works. But if you click the head and then like go back to the sword or the potion, it puts the armor back on.
So we're all trying it out.
Yeah, you're giving your gear to the blacksmith.
Yeah.
And they're just holding on to it for you.
That's kind of what I figured happened. And then if you open your inventory, it pops back. Yeah, I think for the most part, there wasn't really too many major bugs in the past, 2 weeks or whatever. Was there anything else that was worth mentioning?
There hasn't been anything too huge other than, I guess, like the ones that we had mentioned since then. It's been kind of calm with all the bugs and such. It's really just like a few polish features and then just prep for the full release, which is a good sign.
Yep, we're basically ready for the release. I think I got the end user license agreement and our updated privacy policy back from the lawyer, so that stuff's all going to be in game pretty soon for people to agree to and read fully.
Oh yeah, of course. Always read it word for word.
Yeah, that was kind of the last thing that we needed before we could go live. So. Luckily we got that in time. What else? Oh, I kind of wanted to talk about our plans for post-release a little bit for the people that are listening to this and wondering, what is going to happen once we go live. I have a whole document that I guess I can share with everybody here pretty soon, but it's kind of like the post-release schedule. And I kind of went through and outlined like all the things I kind of want to do after the game is live. Obviously there's some big updates and, some different game modes and things we want to add down the line. But I think right when it comes out, our focus is going to be kind of store items for a little bit. We have some new artifacts and companions that are kind of started. Ben drew them, and I think I'm going to have Nyka animate those here shortly. Those will be coming into the shop pretty soon, after release. I'm planning on doing like every other week so that we get like an artifact and a companion every month, basically. And then, I don't know, Ben, do you have any ideas for other cosmetic things that can go into the tailor shop?
Oh boy. I'm sure I could come up with tons of stuff, honestly. Like, yeah, there's limitless options.
Right on. Yeah, I'm probably going to have you do some like, simpler ones that don't need animated.
Oh yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. And then, we have the animated artifacts and companions that are going to come into the shop as well. So
yeah, get real fancy with the like cosmetics and shop items for sure.
Yeah.
Right on, right.
Yeah, part of it is the budget too. If we launch and people don't spend money, we're gonna be pretty tight for a little bit. So I'm hoping that some of those kind of shop updates and new items and stuff, encourage people to keep playing and try out new stuff and that kind of thing. Like especially with artifacts and companions, hopefully they'll allow some new builds and stuff.
For sure.
I just saw Brittany reply to my message. I think she might be here. I'm telling her to join us.
Nice.
Having more people in town is actually a pretty good sign. Because I can never really tell like how many people could be in town or how bad it is to have a bunch of people running around.
Yeah.
For sure.
I found out that if you click on a person's name, you don't move. But if you click on their body, then you walk up to them.
Interesting.
Okay, Brittany says she's in and out of meetings, so she can't hop into the podcast. We'll get her on here. Maybe the next one we'll try to fit around her schedule or something.
For sure. That happened.
But yeah, she's in in the town running around. So like I said, the game is working as planned. You can play it while you're in meetings and stuff. So
The gang's on.
I can't type I into the friends list.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I might have actually added that bug on accident recently. Somebody reported that you couldn't use escape to exit the friends list.
Oh.
And I added that in, but I think that was preventing the inventory from opening up with I.
Yeah.
If I open the friends list and then try to exit it with the escape, it opens the settings.
Yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to open up your settings, or I guess toggle on and off your settings, which it does that for everything. But it used to not do it for the friends list.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just had to like right click and then go to add friend that way because I couldn't type the name out otherwise.
User 95 is Brittany in the chat apparently, but I wonder why it doesn't have her name.
Oh yeah, was there a bug where like it did that until you like entered a dungeon or?
Yeah, until you like relogged or something.
Huh, but Brittany definitely has like equipment on, so I don't know. Huh.
Might have been in a dungeon this whole time and then finally came out of it, which I think it's a logout issue, because you never disconnect from the chat no matter what you do, unless you quit the game.
That's good. But yeah, I mean, it's a little buggy, but like it's good that the chat like is persistent. Something to iron out, I'm sure.
Make sure I write it down. I'm trying to make sure I write down bugs as we go.
Yeah, we're all just like rambling them off.
Yeah, I actually just found another one that I was going to mention.
We podcast him, we bug test him.
Yeah. I'll just explain it afterward because it might be a little fussy.
Yeah, and one of the other post-release things I wanted to talk about was our plan for the first like update post-release is going to be trying to get multiple builds, multiple loadouts into the inventory. I have a document on how I want to do it, so I'm hoping that's not too big of a undertaking, but it might be interesting. We'll have to maybe move some things around with the inventory a little bit.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to mess around with how the inventory works with that, especially with the, I guess the slots might be a big thing, because you can only have 200, and more loadouts means less inventory space to actually collect loot.
It should mean more. You can't have... Your loadouts should be in addition to your inventory, right?
Talking about like the gear in it doesn't take up inventory space.
Yeah, like once it's basically you're moving it to like another slot, like equipped to your character is how I imagine it would work. But it's not being used, it's just equipped in like an empty build slot.
Oh, okay.
That can be like swapped in and out.
Actually makes a lot more sense, and it's probably a good way to do it, because that like works around the issue of it.
Yeah, so it should make like basically a bunch more places that people can store stuff if they want to, but then it should be used more for like, multiple builds. So my idea is, you have like a bunch of slots or builds or whatever you want to call them, and they're going to be like Roman numeral named, so you click on like I or 1, and then it brings up 8 new slots that you can put one of each item into, and then you can use that to like swap them in or out or whatever for your build. So the way I have it in my head, it should be pretty simple, but stuff never is.
It's true, you never know.
The main thing that I'm concerned about with it is the wardrobe button is sort of in the road for where the builds I feel like should go. So we'll probably end up having to move the wardrobe button somehow. But that's a problem for another time. I just wanted to let people know that we were going to be hopefully working on that soon. As soon as the game gets released and we see that it's not completely broken for people, then that is one of the first things I want to start adding in.
Yeah, players tend to like loadouts. I feel like games that release without them but should have them take so much longer than they should to actually add them in. It's always frustrating.
Yeah, I think it's one of our main priorities, is that, like, just getting that in. Go look at my document for post-release schedule, see what else we got on here. Yeah, and then I want to like do some improved leaderboard stuff too. That'll make way for like the first new game mode, which will be more of like an endless mode where you can just grind up until and see how like strong you can be. But we'll talk more about that when it comes, but hopefully in the next 2 or 3 months we'll have that kind of coming along.
So I want to see like a proper leaderboard section in the game. I want to say we talked about it before, adding like a leaderboard statue that you can interact with instead of the bulletin board.
Yeah, I think it would be cool to have like the highest ranked person as like a statue in town.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so it'd either be like by Paragon level or by Titan breach clear times.
Get some real bragging rights going.
Yeah. Yeah, should just be able to put like a filter over the character, right? Like copy the character, put like a gray filter over them so they look like they're made of stone, maybe.
Maybe. I guess that would take some like testing to see if it actually works. Yeah, like throw a texture on that is just like a stone texture.
Yeah.
Maybe if it could work like as a mask or something, like that gets applied over it or something, like an image layer or something.
Yeah. No, this is artist territory. That's where you start to use me.
For sure.
Yeah, I could probably figure something out.
Yeah, I know there's different like coloring options in Unity, because that was something that we were going to do at the beginning, was like color the mobs and stuff with filters in Unity so that we could have like different colored mobs, but then we decided to go against it, that it was better to just have Ben color them.
I think it was that like it was just like all a flat color, like you couldn't do, or like everything had to be like one tone. It didn't really look very good.
Yeah, but it might work for a statue that is supposed to be one tone.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Yeah, I think you touched on exactly what I was going to mention. You can tint things, but like it looks kind of weird unless you like you kind of do it more bespoke in like an image editor or something. I feel like in Unity it just it kind of looks flat.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens.
Speaking of color of things, wonder if you can, this might not even work at all, add like a shader type thing where you can apply it to your armor and it just gives it a tint. But I feel like depending on the armor, it might just come out abysmally.
Yeah, that's something we'll have to mess with, but I think having a statue of someone in town would be really cool. And then that's like your leaderboard menu. Free up some space on the bulletin board for something else.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The other topic that I had on our list here is an issue that I guess came up in the Discord with one person that seemed very concerned that the game was pay to win, and they didn't like our free to play model. So I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. I tried to kind of explain it in the Discord, but I don't know. It sounded like he wasn't really sold on my viewpoint on it. I don't know. Like we obviously have energy timers and stuff in the game, And that was the problem that he was having with them, with the game, was that he didn't like energy timers. He wanted just to have like infinite levels so that you could just play forever, I guess. But the issue with that is this game is kind of designed around logging in every day and playing for a little bit, you know, and there's enough free energy and astrolabes and stuff that you can get like a solid, like, I don't know, I feel like it takes me like an hour or two to spend all my energy in here, you know, like as I get faster at clearing dungeons and stuff, then it goes quicker, obviously. But you know, it's designed so that you have enough energy and you get free energy potions as you level up. So your first play session can be really long, and you can kind of get the whole way up to level 10 and get into like paragons and stuff with just like the free energy potions and that timer. But then once you get to that point, then it becomes like a daily game where you log in, you get your daily login reward, and then you spend your energy as you can. And then if you want to play more than that, then you can, you know, look at the shop or see what you get into after that. But it's designed where I think it's very fair in what you can do for free. I don't know, like it's kind of you know, obviously the game is based on Bit Hero's kind of economy and model, which worked really well for them up until, you know, I guess it's still working for them technically, even though I don't play anymore on there. But I'm trying to think how I want to like explain it. But it's basically like every game like this has whales, and those are the people that spend like a lot of money in the game, and those people keep the game free for everyone else. So if you're a free player that doesn't want to spend any money in the game, you don't have to, and you can farm up crystals and stuff in the dungeons and get your get everything you need that way, you know, because you can go to the shop and you can get your artifacts and companions and stuff with crystals that you can get for free in the game just over time playing. So there's nothing that is locked behind a paywall that you need to play the game. You know, if you want to play a lot more, then you can get into like the consumable bundles and things that let you, like, you know, do an 8-hour grind or something on your day off or whatever. That's kind of my 2 cents on it. I think it's going to work really well because, you know, it's been proven that it works, and people play other games that have it, and I don't know, I like games that have these energy timers and things in them as well. So maybe it's just me, but that's my 2 cents on that.
I guess too, just thinking about it, like a lot of games that have these systems are like bigger, like kind of like bigger products, or more like kind of triple or double A type games. And like I figure with ours, we're not really like doing a Kickstarter. We don't have like a publisher or any kind of like sponsors or anything. And like just to be like real about like server costs and like, you know, assets cost money to produce and stuff. So I figured like the free-to-play stuff as it is tailored pretty fairly, but like it all goes towards like just keeping the game like going and keeping content coming out. So I think it makes a lot of sense with the model we have going right now. Like maybe if we were in a better position, it would make more sense to like make the system looser or more rewarding of like points or something. But
right, because the one thing about it is nobody is gonna try a game they've never heard of and pay $50 for it.
Yeah,
you know, that's like what we'd have to charge up front if we wanted to make, you know, the same amount of money or something, you know. And I just don't see anyone going like just jumping into a game like this for $50. And first of all, it's not finished. like obviously we have so many updates we want to do in the future, and you know, we only have the 10 dungeon levels and the 1 breach and stuff, and it would cost a lot of money to add those in before we launched. Basically we can't afford it right now, so the idea is to launch and start making some money off of people playing what is available, and then, you know, continuing to add to it.
I feel like some of this falls into the line of how, like, what would be like a live service game model. Because when you have a live service game and it updates over time with new content, you can't always just have like everything right there immediately. Like as you were saying with the charging a price for it, it's something that we couldn't realistically do on the live service model that we have. Because if you go into the idea that content's going to be added over time, then years down the line, it makes sense where it's like, oh, this game now has a cost to it. Compared to now, where this is in the early stages of the game's release and there's just so much more in its lifetime that it's gonna get. Makes more sense for the free model that then gains content over time, but has like a limited playtime to it. Like, you can't just play all day, every day, the entire time. You have to wait for your energy to build up, or spend money to earn more.
Yeah, definitely. I guess the other part of it too that you know, I allude to every once in a while, but I guess I've not really like come out and just said it, but like, this is like a game that I paid for out of my own pocket. I built, you know, everything that we've done, everybody's been paid for their work, you know, the whole time. We're not doing any like what do you call it, like publishers, or there's no like investor money or anything like that. It's all come out of my personal bank account and a second mortgage on my house. So like, without just saying the exact number of how much money I've spent so far, it's just not like, I don't know. We've done everything that we can up to this point with the budget that we have to make it as good as possible, and I just think that this pay model is the one that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm just glad to see that there's no season pass model involved in it. So many games do that so often now, and certain ones, the way they do it is just like, you basically can't play the game unless you pay for the season.
Yeah, I don't want anything like that. I do want to eventually add like a better daily login reward, maybe like a login reward calendar, where if you log in every day for the month or whatever, at the end of the month you get, you know, something worth the time of playing, but not like I don't want it to be like pay $20 and you get something better for logging in those days. You know, that's kind of the season pass model. But you know, I think improved daily login rewards would help people you know, want to log in every day, you know, and like a calendar where they can see what they get if they continue to log in, I think would be beneficial.
I've always liked the way that the login system of Warframe worked, because they have it as like, as you play you get a random reward daily for login, and as you play the game and level up, the quality of the login reward goes up. And on certain major intervals of time, like once you do your 50th login, not in a row, but just your 50th login overall, you're given a special reward that you can only get through that login system. And then continue it through like every major interval, I think every 50, you get like a special reward. But the timer never resets if you miss a day. So if you miss like 3 days, and this would be your 4th time logging in, you get day 4 login instead of it going back to 1.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like I don't like being punished for missing a day, because like people have lives, you know, like so like they can't just you know, log in every day in a row. But I like that, where it just, as you continue to log in, you build that up. So maybe it's like an every 30 days reward, but you don't have to do them in a row. You just have to log in 30 days. You know, if it takes you a year to do it or whatever, you still get the reward.
Yep. Anyway, it's not nearly as punishing for players who have whatever reason they can't log in on a day.
I'm adding that to my post-release schedule. Improved daily login rewards, because that is something that I wanted to be on there, and I forgot to get it on there.
Yeah, it's pretty common for ideas to be like bouncing around, but then you start to forget about it if it's not written down almost immediately.
Yeah. Well, we are getting into the 40 minutes of recording time, so we're definitely over on that. It'll be shorter once I edit it down, but I don't know. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about before we wrap this up?
Should be looking good on my end.
I'm excited for release.
Yeah.
The release. It's soon. It's so soon. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and we do have a lot of like promotional stuff that Brittany has in the works, so you'll start seeing our Instagram and Twitter and stuff being a little more active again. We kind of took a little break basically because of budget, and then just to get things lined up, it seemed like it made more sense to start promoting harder once the game was closer to being out. So that stuff will be picking back up. You can follow that at Dungeons Obelisk is our Instagram and our Twitter. If you've made it to the end of this podcast and you're not in our Discord, you need to go to knobcat.com, check out all the stuff on the website. I need to start updating the glub dates a little bit again. So now that we're closer to launch, I should probably get something out on there about that. So, there's lots of our dev log basically as we were working on the game. There's lots of back stuff to read there. But also find the link to our Discord. Join us there. You can talk to us, ask us questions about the game. If you're listening to this podcast, there's probably a place where you can leave a review. So it'd be cool if you gave us 5 stars, leave a little review, let us know you like the show, and that'll help other people find our game. I also have my Twitch, which is twitch.tv/StarRambler. I usually stream on there as often as I can. It's been broken lately where I stream for about 2 minutes and then it goes to a picture of a guy like with his head in his hands and it doesn't work. So I think I fixed that yesterday, but we'll have to see. Hopefully by the time the game is live in 2 weeks, I can stream it again. So that would be cool. And I think that's everything. I guess go to Steam, search Dungeons of the Obelisk, and add us to your wish list. And with that, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.